Azure DevOps came. I think you already know what is software development lifecycle and what are all the different methodologies or models available in software development lifecycle. And once you decided that you have to develop an application and you will follow a development model. Just a minute, guys. So you came to know about the software development lifecycle methodologies and you decided to develop an application. So once you develop the application, you wanted to host it in the cloud. So we have already seen what is cloud, what are all the different cloud computing models, and what are all the components or variables, the variable resources available in the cloud, like IaaS, PaaS or SaaS. Now, so getting an idea, maybe creating an application and delivering the application to cloud or any on-premise services, in between there are a lot of things happens. So where you write the code, how you build the code, how you release the code. Before releasing, if you want to test anything inside the code, how you perform the test cases. These all activities in traditional ways or in legacy systems, they used to perform everything manual. Let's say if a developer writing a source code in one of the computers, if you want to build the source code, you need to take the source code from the developer system and then copy paste it to build system. So where there is a build server, you need to build copy paste into the build server. There you can build it. Even to build the code also, based on the source code, you need to install some build softwares. If it is Java, you maybe need to install Maven. If it is .NET, you need to install MS Build. Or if it is any other source code like Python or PHP, you need to install what are all the dependencies required to build the source code in the build server. That means you need to configure your build server by your own. So after once you build the source code, you will get the executable file or run file or maybe the artifact, which is nothing but the outcome of the build. So you need to move it manually to release server, maybe deployment server. So again you are taking it manually, copy paste into floppy disk or CD. Nowadays everything is going with shared drives only, no one is taking CDs. So you need to copy paste into shared drive, and from that shared drive they will copy again to the release server, and from there they will take it and they will deploy. So release server is different, the production systems are different. Release server means where you are going to keep all your installable files or executable files or the files which can be deployed or moved or installed into production systems. So the release server will only have all the dependency files or artifacts of the builds. So once you release the source code in the production systems, it will start running. When it is running means the end user or the customer can see whatever is your application. It may be an app, it may be a website, or it may be a downloadable file, anything. Then it will become available to end users. So these all things used to happen manually. This is something like from writing source code to making it available to the customer. In between, these all activities happens. Earlier or traditional ways, everything is going to manually. So to automate these things, people came with different tools, different practices. One of the best practice and which is well known and which is famous right now is DevOps practice. So what is DevOps practice? DevOps practice is a way where people use different tools or products by following specific process to deliver the project to the end user in a quick manner. Okay, this is DevOps. When you are saying in DevOps we use different tools, what are all the tools available? These many tools available in the market. We already know this is called DevOps Infinity. Just a second.
Are you sharing something,
Yes,
Rajesh?
yes, I forgot I started.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you wanted to start a DevOps practice in your organization, so if you go to the market and check for tools, these are all the tools available. Number of tools available for each category. For each category, there are many tools available. Definitely, it will bring you to some certain confusion level. What should I use? If I want to plan, what is the tool I need to pick? If I want to build, what is the tool I need to pick? So there are a lot of confusions. So people started they started going for free tools. They are picking free tool in every category. So they are for planning, they are using something like Jira, which is a free tool. Then for build, they are started using Jenkins. Again, Jenkins is a free tool. Then for deploy, they started using udeploy, something kind of tools. I think we are missing some tools here. Let me take another one. Uh, yep, I think this works. Yes, now you see. Collaborate is nothing but planning. So for planning, they started using Jira, and for communication, they started using some chat box. And for knowledge sharing, they started using GitHub, which is free. For source code, again GitHub. For continuous integration, Jenkins, which is free. For build, they started using Packer, Maven. These are also free. And for testing, there are some testing tools freely available in the market for deployment. So they started picking one tool which will satisfy their requirements. And again, organizations are facing different issue to manage these tools. For every tool, they want one engineer. They have to manage the tool, and all the engineers should work in coordinated way. Like if you want to coordinate the build system with the collaborative system, they should follow some service connections or some plugins. So this used to happen. People are habituated. Okay, I'm using this tool. I'm using this tool. This is for this purpose, and that is for that purpose. Many tools. Ultimately, the main goal is to deliver the software to the end user. For to deliver the software to the end user, they are following many tools. So at that point, Microsoft came with a tool called Azure DevOps. So what is your activities? You are saying you need to run, I mean, 5 categories like collaborate, build, test, deploy, and run. Okay, you want to perform 5 activities, and for each activity you are using separate tool. So I am bringing you a tool called Azure DevOps, where you will have everything in one go. So they came up with this idea. So we are bringing you 5 services, where each service will satisfy your different needs. So Azure DevOps is consisting of 5 services. First one is Azure Boards, which will help you to plan, track, and discuss work across teams and collaborate teams. So the the collaborate activities going done in Azure Boards. So you are good to perform all your activities in Azure Boards and plan, track your activities. Then you wanted to write source code. You need a source code management system or a version control system. They created Azure Repos. Azure Repos is built on top of GitHub mechanism. So this will have files, commits, pull requests. We will see these when we are going through repos category. So when we are seeing Azure Repos, then we will see what is Git and what are all the options available in Git. Then once your source code is ready, you need to build it. So you want build pipelines, release pipelines. Both are integrated into one category, that is called Azure Pipelines, where you will perform CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous deployment. Now your source code is ready to release, but before releasing, You want to test it, then go with test plans. If you have test cases ready and you have a plan how you test the code, then bring the test plans to Azure test plans. Upload that your test plan, and Azure will perform it automatically. You don't need to run it manually. You can have schedules. You can do the load test also. If your application is going to host in the market, you can test it by having 100 or 1000 virtual users. That means at a time your application will be accessed by 1000 systems. Then you can perform a review. Okay, for 1000 users, how much time it taking and how fast it is responding. What is the response time? What is the performance time? What is the load time? These all things can be collected from Azure test plans. Then Azure artifacts. When you are building something in CI/CD, the same packages or the same dependencies can be used in future by some other teams. Then you can save those packages in Azure artifacts. So this will help the teams. They don't need to go again to Google all the packages. Your packages will be readily available within your organization so that they can use those packages and they can build and create applications easily. And once everything is ready, you are good to deploy your application to that may be a cloud platform or maybe in your local server. It all depends on the market, how you want to reach the market. If you want to reach the global market, you can install it on cloud. But if you want to have it within your organization, then you can deploy into your local systems. So these are all the major services in Azure DevOps. Okay, these are services. But what is Azure DevOps and how it came? See, Azure DevOps is nothing but the cloud version of Microsoft's Team Foundation server. Azure DevOps is nothing but the cloud version of Microsoft's Team Foundation server. In our demo session, we already know Azure DevOps is nothing but software as a service. Azure DevOps is nothing but software as a service from Microsoft Cloud. Azure DevOps is nothing but software as a service from Microsoft Cloud. But before making this software as a service in the cloud, it used to be a software, a manual software, something like it's a desktop application. People will call it as desktop application. Desktop application in the sense you need to download from the internet and you need to install in your desktop. Desktop is nothing but your system or any server. So the first name of this tool is Team Foundation Server, where you can write your source code, you can build your source code, and you can deploy your source code to the target systems. It is released initially in 2006. It is released initially in 2006, where people used to purchase this software and they will download and they will install in their local system, and there they will configure their build and release mechanism in a specific server. This is what I said. In the starting of our session, what I said, you need to write the source code and then you need to copy the source code to build the system, and from there you will take it to the release system. So what Microsoft did was, when you are using multiple servers, I am integrating all these functionalities into one software and you can install the software in one server. So within the same server, you can write the source code, you can build the source code, and you can release the source code. And again, the release target will be different. It may be a local server or a different server. During that time, 2006 or 2007, there is no such concept called cloud deployments. Even there are some organizations will not know what is cloud also during this time, 2006 or 2007. So Microsoft started adding different features based on the customer review, customer feedback. And one day they thought, okay, people are downloading the software again and again, they are installing. Even if you want to give any extra feature to the customers, you need to again give a package to the customer, then customer will install the package. If customer faces any installation issues while adding this functionality to the Team Foundation server, they are again coming back and they are giving issues. Why should I always give this package to the customer? Why can't I keep it in somewhere where the customer can download easily? And no need to install the Team Foundation server itself. Let me install in some place. From the same place, people can access the software and they can use from there itself. They don't need to install anything in their local PC. Like, let's take Facebook example only. If you want to use Facebook in your mobile, you need to install Facebook app. But if you want to use Facebook in the browser, you don't need to install anything. You just give www.facebook.com and there you can log in with your account. Whatever you are seeing in the mobile, the same can be achieved. I mean, the same can be seen in the browser as well. That means if you want to use in your local, you need to download and install. But if you don't want to use in your local and you want the flexibility, okay, I forgot my mobile. Now I want to access Facebook. Where can I access? Just go to an internet cafe, open the browser and log in into facebook.com. The same way what happened, Microsoft came with an idea. I'm going to give you this Team Foundation server online and the URL will be visualstudio.com. And the URL will be visualstudio.com. There you just go and create an account and access all your projects. What are all the projects you are creating locally and what are all the things you are doing locally. Those can be done in web. So this way what will happen? Even though you forgot your laptop, even though you forgot, I mean you are not in your office, but still you can access your source code, your projects from anywhere in the world. So you can access your source code and projects from anywhere in the world. So they called it as Visual Studio Online. They call it as Visual Studio Online. That means I am giving you the service whatever you are getting locally that will be readily available in online. So Visual Studio Online idea was it's a great click. People started using it very friendly and many organizations thought, okay, why should I download this software and again to install and again to maintain? I want to carry some servers. Those servers need to be maintained by some other person. So people started moving this to Visual Studio Online. They started creating their accounts. Even organizations started creating their accounts. So slowly Microsoft's integrating lot of services. Initially they used to have projects, then build and then release. Later they started integrating test plans, artifacts, releases, creating work items, plannings, then multiple things. So then they came, okay, we are providing multiple services within the same platform. We are providing multiple services. These all services can suffice one team's entire work. If a team want to create an application and release the application, all the services are available here itself. So in 2015, they wanted to change this name. Initially it is Visual Studio Online, but in 2015 they wanted to change the name. So they changed it to Visual Studio only, but these are many services. So we are naming it as Visual Studio Team Services. Earlier it is Visual Studio Online, then they renamed it as Visual Studio Team Services. That means inside this Visual Studio, we have all the services what are all required for your team. So even the Visual Studio Team Services also, it's got a great response. People are started moving towards it. And people fond of think, okay, Visual Studio Team Services has many services. We can directly go and subscribe. We can create an account and all the services are readily available. If you want to write code, you can write code. If you want to build code, you can build code. If you want to create work items or make a plan for your projects, you can plan. And if you want to deploy to multiple systems, you can deploy. By the time 2015, the cloud was already there in the market. So people started deploying into cloud as well. Then Visual Studio give an option, you can deploy to cloud. It's not only single cloud, you can deploy to any cloud. It may be Amazon Web Services, Microsoft's Azure, Google Cloud, OpenShift, Rackspace, any cloud. And if you want to deploy to local also, we can help you. Where is your local servers? Just give the target server's name or their IP addresses. Then you can directly deploy to the system. So Visual Studio Team Services literally running on top of Azure. And Visual Studio Team Services will satisfy all the requirements which are needed to implement DevOps practice. Visual Studio Team Services running on top of Azure. That means when you say Visual Studio Team Services is hosted in cloud, that is people no need to install. It is already there. It is installed on some servers. Those servers are maintained by Azure. That means Visual Studio Team Services running in Azure. And Visual Studio Team Services will satisfy all the requirements, all the activities which needs to be performed as part of DevOps practice. Then Microsoft came up with again another idea. Okay, Visual Studio Team Services is best suitable for DevOps practice, and this is directly dependent on Azure. Directly, it's not indirectly or partially. It is directly dependent on Azure. If there is no Azure, then there is no VSTS. If there is no Azure, then there is no VSTS. Okay, let us just a minute, guys. So let us tell them that we are directly dependent on Azure, and VSTS is nothing but a DevOps tool for you. Then they came up with an idea, let's rename this as well. They came up with Azure DevOps. And within Azure DevOps, I mean, within VSTS services, we have all the services. And the services names are already there, like boards, repos, pipelines, test plans, artifacts. These all services are again directly dependent on Azure. Let's attach Azure all these services. If there is no Azure, then there is no boards, no repos, no pipelines, no test plans, no artifacts. Why they renamed it again each service as Azure, I will show you in couple of minutes. So this is how Azure DevOps name came, and Azure services are renamed as Azure boards, Azure repos, everything. These all information is available in this page, guys. If you want, you can go through this page. This is Wikipedia. Here in Azure DevOps, we have all this, and here you can see in 2013, the Visual Studio system has been renamed as Visual Studio Online. Visual Studio Online is nothing but Team Foundation server. Okay, Visual Studio Online is nothing but Team Foundation server. In 2013, it was Visual Studio Online, and in 2015, it was Visual Studio Team Services, and in 2018, it was Azure DevOps. This is how Azure DevOps evolved. So I told you this is initially released in 2006 as an on-premise system, Visual Studio Team system. People used to download and install. In 2010, they renamed it as Team Foundation Server. Initially in 2006, it was Visual Studio Team system, and in 2010, they renamed it as Team Foundation Server. And then they moved it to cloud to make it available to the entire world so that everyone can access, no need to download or no need to install. And in 2018, they renamed it to Azure DevOps. So what they did, there are some people still, they want to have it locally. So they want to download and they want to install. So Microsoft has not stopped their server version. They are releasing it as Azure DevOps Server. Server means you can download and you can install, you can configure in your local environment. If you don't want to download and install and you want to make it available online, then go for Azure DevOps Services. That means whatever services in Visual Studio Team services, those all services are there in Azure DevOps Services. Okay, now we got to know what is Azure DevOps Services and how it came into the market. So how can I subscribe for Azure DevOps? This is the URL where you can go and create your account. First, you need to log in into azure.microsoft.com. As we already know, Azure DevOps is directly dependent on Azure, and it is one of the Azure products. It's not a different product. It is one of the Azure products. So go to azure.microsoft.com, and inside the products, there are multiple sections for each type. There we have Azure DevOps section. So inside the DevOps section, we have Azure DevOps. Inside the DevOps section, we have Azure DevOps. So if you click on this, it will take you to Azure DevOps. So here if you see, it's only Azure DevOps, but in the browser, if you can see, this is Azure DevOps Services. This is Azure DevOps Services. So if you want to download Azure DevOps, you can go. Yeah. If you go to pricing, there you will see the other version of Azure DevOps. See, here it is Azure DevOps Server. Azure DevOps Server. So if you want to download and if you want to install, go to this server and install the server in your local. And these are all the costs. These are all for server cost. And for Azure DevOps, these are the prices. So here, if you can see, they are providing individual services as well. That's the reason even they added Azure to all the services. If you are using only pipelines, then you should know that this pipelines is directly dependent on Azure. If Azure is not working, then obviously your pipelines will not work. If Azure is not working, obviously your pipelines will not work. That's the reason even they added Azure word in all the services, letting the people know that all the services are directly dependent on Azure. If Azure is not working, then all your services inside Azure DevOps will not work. Even your Azure DevOps URL also will not work. You will be not able to access your Azure DevOps URL. Going back to the page. Yes. So this is Azure DevOps page. Here you can create your account for free. You can create your account for free. If you are already user in GitHub, so GitHub is another famous platform where developers used to write code and software engineers used to search for any applications code. This is a famous platform. Let me show you that as well. Okay, it's directly going to my account. Let me go to another page. At least I will show you how the github.com looks. So you can see this is how GitHub is connecting the entire world. So people from across the world, they can communicate with each other and they can share their code. Everything can happen in GitHub. So if you see, there are 56 plus million developers, 3 plus million organizations in GitHub, 100 plus million repositories. Repository is nothing but collection of source code, where you are write all your source code. Okay. So here you can create your account. If you already have account, you can use this account. Sorry, if you already have your account, you can use this account to log in into Azure DevOps. Okay. But if you don't have GitHub account, directly go and start in Azure DevOps itself. So here you can start for free. So if you click on this start for free, I already have my account. Yeah, so let me go back to previous browser. Here again I will go to azure.microsoft.com. Inside Azure Microsoft Azure platform, under products you will have DevOps section, and there you will have Azure DevOps. Yeah. Now if you want to start from free, so if you don't have GitHub account, you can directly create account with your mail ID itself.
Guys, what was the use to get GitHub and separate ID?
See, what happened is GitHub is there before Azure DevOps. That's the reason they are allowing GitHub users to create account.
Okay.
So GitHub is there before Azure DevOps. So if you are already user in GitHub, no need to create separate account. You can log in with your GitHub account.
Okay.
It's just that I'm going to allow you. See, do you have in Facebook saying that user@facebook.com? No, right?
No.
So you are accessing your Facebook account with your Gmail account.
Yes.
That means Facebook is allowing users even with their Gmail account also. In the same way, Azure DevOps is allowing users with their GitHub account also.
Okay. Thanks.
Yes. So this is login page. If you already have account, you can give the sign in and you can log in. But if you don't have account, you can go for create one. So there you will have create one. So here you can create one. Remember guys, this is not Azure DevOps account. When you are creating an account in the sense, it will be a Microsoft account. Once you create the Microsoft account, you can use this account for any Microsoft services. It's not just Azure DevOps. Once you create this Microsoft account, you can use any Microsoft service by using this account. It may be Microsoft Azure, Microsoft Azure DevOps, or Microsoft Office 365, or Microsoft Outlook, any Microsoft service. So now you are going to create Microsoft account. It's not just that Azure DevOps account. Okay, if you already have Microsoft account, so Microsoft account in the sense the mail IDs which starts with, which ends with @outlook.com, @live.com, sorry, @hotmail.com. These all are Microsoft accounts. Okay, which ends with @outlook.com, @live.com, @hotmail.com. If you don't have these accounts, okay, if you don't have these accounts which ends with Outlook or Live or Hotmail, you can get a new mail address, or you can convert your Gmail or your Yahoo mail or your any other mail. If you are already working, please don't use your corporate mails. Why? Because your corporate mails will have some Microsoft services already attached. So don't use your corporate accounts. Please use your personal accounts. If you don't have Outlook or Live or Hotmail accounts, you can use your Gmail accounts, and then you can convert your Gmail accounts into Microsoft accounts. So I want you guys to create a Microsoft account, maybe @outlook.com or hotmail.com. No, I want to go with your Gmail account, then you can go with Gmail account also. This is a task for you. Create a Microsoft account and get an Azure DevOps subscription. Okay, create a Microsoft account and get an Azure DevOps subscription. This is a task for you. Okay, once you get the account, you will come to this page. This is Azure DevOps home page. So where you will see all your projects and what are all the organizations you are involved. If you see here, I am into Rajesh organization. I am member of this organization, and inside this organization there are many projects. I am part of all these projects. That's the reason I am seeing all these projects. But in real time, you will see only the projects where you are part. Where you added as a member. Here I am member of all these projects. That's the reason I am seeing all the projects. But in real time scenario, you will see only the projects where you have access. If you don't have access, those projects will not be visible for you. Generally, sometimes even it will take you directly to that project homepage. This is project homepage. This is project homepage. So based on your access levels, based on your permissions, you may directly land on this page, or else sometimes you will land on this page. This is like organization's homepage. So in real-time scenario, if you are a DevOps engineer and you are new joinee, or maybe you will be involved in only limited activities, then you won't get access to this page. This is like organization's homepage, where you can create a project and you can delete a project, anything you can do here. So that's the reason people will not give you access to this page. Why? Because you are allowed to create new project. They will directly give you access in the project itself. So that will directly take you. The moment you log into the Azure DevOps account, it will directly take you to the project. So here, even if you try, this is like the menu. Even if you try to go to the Rajesh organization homepage button, it will throw you error if you don't have access. It will throw you error if you don't have access. Like, let me give my demo. See, page not found. It will throw you this type of error. Page not found. When you say go back to home, it will take you to the organizations page. But you will not have access to this page. So that's even if you try to access this page, it will throw you. So going back to the organization page only. Anyway, when you are creating your Azure DevOps account on your own, obviously you will be the owner of your organization. Obviously, you will be the owner of your organization. There you need to create your first project. There you need to create your first project. So if you go to create your new project, today I will create a new project. It's been a long time. ADO trainings. Okay, ADO means Azure DevOps. We will use this word lot of times going in our sessions. ADO means Azure DevOps. ADO trainings. So in generally projects are two types: public project, private project. Public means let me check with you guys. So this is public project. You can see here, this is public project. I am giving you this URL, guys. Any one of you can try to access this URL and tell me what is the result. So it's there in the chart. Just try to open the URL. So it will directly take you to this page. It won't ask any login credentials. Am I right? Anybody open?
Yes, Rajesh, I opened. No credentials.
Yeah, no credentials. It directly opens the project, and even you will be allowed to access some services as well.
Yeah, I'm able to see all overview, summary, dashboard, wiki, boards, reports.
Yeah, the same way, let me give you another URL. So this is private project. Now, as I said, you can see on the project homepage itself, you will see either it is private or public.
Okay.
Now,
No, I'm not able to see.
now try the second URL.
Let me try. Oh, it's asking sign into your account.
Right. So that's the difference, guys. When you are creating a public project, that means people with the URL. When the people know the URL, they will be able to access all the options inside the project without signing in. But when you create a private project, only the people who you access can only access inside the project options. Maybe they may be services or whatever they want. Now, let me go back to my
It's
drop.
clearly shown, right? A public is you can use anywhere. A private is has been locked.
Yes. No, people we don't have a habit of reading the below lines. That's why I want to explain.
Well
So
said,
if
well
you,
said.
yeah, if you have time and if you want to go through, it's always good to read the entire browser, man. Whenever see, again, that's the reason I told you, whatever information I shared with you, most of the information available on this Wikipedia page. But what happens with people was, people will say, oh, this page looks very long. What should I do? Already Rajesh given the explanation. No, if you have time, better go through this page. You will get more knowledge than me. Even you will share some knowledge with me. Rajesh, you missed some point. I see there is something important which can be shared. Yeah, okay, then that's good. If you go through this page, then even it's good for you and good for me also. See, in our initial demo session, I told you Azure DevOps is a ALM tool for all. See, the application type category was ALM, Application Lifecycle Management. So most of my points about Azure DevOps are taken from here. Most of my points. It's not 100%, but most of my points. Okay. So when you are going through a page, if you are interested to read all this page, that's good. Go through and read every line, whatever they are showing. So public, you came to know what is the difference, and private, you know what is the difference. So when you are going for training, better go with public only. I will tell you the reason why I wanted to go with private, I mean public. Generally in organizations, they always go with private only. Why? Because they don't want other people to access their projects. But when you are going for practice, go with public only. There are some advantages going with public. I will show you later. So again, this is version control type. When you are creating a project, obviously you are going to create your project for creating some web application or developing some application only, right? So that's the reason they are giving you option. What is the version control system you want to use? So Git is the version control system which was created by GitHub, and TFVC is the version control system which was created by Microsoft. TFVC, in our demo session we have seen this word TFVC, Team Foundation Version Control, and Git is from GitHub. How Git came here was GitHub was acquired by Microsoft. Now GitHub is a subsidiary of Microsoft. Initially GitHub started as a separate organization, but in the year 2019, I think it's not 2019, yeah, 2019 I believe. 2019, no, it's not 2019, even in 2018 itself I believe, yeah. In 2018 I believe, GitHub was acquired by Microsoft. Now GitHub is part of Microsoft family. So that's the reason they incorporated Git as well. So you can use Git version control system or Team Foundation version control system. And when you decided that you want to create a project, obviously you are going to plan some activities. So obviously you are going to have some plan some activities. So these are actually project planning terminologies. These are project planning terminologies. How you want to implement the project. We seen, right? Software development lifecycle methodologies, Agile, Scrum, Waterfall. So they are giving these methodologies available. So you are going to follow Agile, or Basic is kind of waterfall model. Scrum is the way how you implement Agile, and CMMI is another kind of methodology. This is not familiar with most of the organizations. No organization will use CMMI until and unless you are part of security. Let's say RBI. If RBI want to create some applications, they will have more security concerns. So then they can go for CMMI, and then Scrum Basic. Then this is Rajesh organization. Scrum is another kind of methodology I created on my own. It's like custom methodology. Apart from the earlier methodologies, it's like Waterfall, Agile or Scrum. I want to create my own methodology. You can customize the methodologies. It's not that you need to use the same methodology. You can customize. So for now, I will go with basic methodology. Agile is a famous one nowadays. So I will go with Agile only, and I will create. So I'm going to create ADO trainings, public project, going to use Git version control system and work item process Agile. Create. Now it will take me to the project's home page. See, this is project home page. Now there is a project created for you. As of now, there is nothing. Meantime, let me open another project so that I will show you some differences. Okay. So this is public project. It's directly showing on. Public means anyone on the internet can view. And if you want to invite some people, to this project, you can invite from here. So just you need to give their URL. These are already members of my organization. This project is nothing but a part of my organization, right? So these all users are members of my organization. So I'm getting their names. If you don't have their names, you can directly type their URL, I mean their Gmail address or any mail address. And you, let's see, randomly. I will give you a random. Raj@gmail.com. Okay. So now you can add. The moment you add the mail address, you got the add button. So once you click them add, they will get an invitation. From there, they can log in into this project. So here you see, this is invite. I already invited other people into these organizations. I have 3 members here. So those members are, I mean, these people are members of this project. And if you see project stats, ours is blank and empty project. If you see project stats, there is nothing. But in my previous project, there are 1 work item created, 3 commits by 1 author. There are no pull requests. This is last 7 days. If you go for last 30 days, so 2 work items created, 2 pull requests created, 35 commits, and the builds are 54% succeed and the deployments are 52% succeed. So here we have custom value. It's like last 1 day or last 7 days or last 30 days. But in our project it is blank. And here if you see, I have written some summary, but here there is no summary, it's blank. Here there is no summary. I have some summary here. This is a sample project in .NET and I have used languages JavaScript, CSS. I can edit this summary. I can edit this. Okay. Now you have got all the services. You have seen what are the major services: boards, repos, pipelines, test plans, artifacts. They are here. Okay. If you don't want these services, you can disable the services. Go to project settings. And one more thing, guys, you can change the project type, but not the project template. You can change the project type, but not the project template. So this is called, process template, not project template. You can change the project type. Type is public or private. So you can change in later also, but you can't change the process template. What is the methodology you are following? You can't change this. Once you selected Agile, it will be in Agile only. But you can change the visibility. If you created private, you can convert into public. If you created public, you can convert into private. Then these are all the services. If you see Azure DevOps services, these are all the services. But if you want only one service, remove. See, now I have only one pipelines. I disabled all the services. So if I go back to my home page, now if you see boards, repos, pipelines, test plans, artifacts, everything is here. I already disabled here. If I go back to home page, now if you see, I have only pipelines. No boards, no repos, no test plans, no artifacts. This is how you will choose what are the services you want. And in the page, you can convert this into public to private, private to public, but you can't change the process template. Process template is nothing but Cinema. Sorry guys. Process template is nothing but the development methodology which you are following to create your application. So that cannot be changed. Why? Because see, when you are decided to follow waterfall model, in between you can't make it to Agile. And if you decided to Agile, you can't make it to DevOps. There are some process. Why? Because the moment you decided to develop your application in a specific process, you need to follow the process until you deliver the software. In future, if you want to change, that's the reason you can change the visibility, but you can't change the process template. They call it as process template. Even you will get this interview question: what is the process template you are following in your projects? Then don't get confused. What is this? What is this process template? I have not heard. And I'm telling you guys, you will not see this process template word in this browser, in this home page. Even if you go and search where is this process template in my Azure DevOps, you can't see. So that's the reason I'm telling you that is called process template. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Now if I go to this page, yeah, the process template. So this is how you will choose what are all the services you want and what are all the things you can do in Azure DevOps, and how you can create a Azure DevOps account, and inside the Azure DevOps account how you create a project and what are all the project types and what are all the process template types. And inside the home page, what are all these pages? Here we have members, here we have statistics, and this is summary page. So I have given you task that you should create your Azure DevOps account and come up with a sample project. Tomorrow we will start checking what is this each option. What is overview, what is boards, what is repos, what is pipelines, test plans, artifacts. and everything. If you see boards, inside boards, there are a lot of options. Inside repos, there are again multiple options. Pipelines, again multiple test plans, different services, artifacts, different. So for all, each and every service has their own limitation, their own cost, their own price. If you see the, I have here, right? Yeah, just a second. Here we can see the pricing. Here you have pricing. See, the basic plan will comes with 4 services: pipelines, boards, repos, artifacts, and this test plans cost etc. So why it is showing pounds? Maybe I am in different IP. Okay, I should change this option. It is showing different IN. I mean not
It's
in
showing.
Indian.
It is showing Great Britain, UK.
Yes. That's what. Maybe I might be.
Incognito mode. Incognito mode you have opened.
Yeah, that's what. If I open in general. No, even incognito is like, it's obviously Indian IP address, right? Why it went to IN pound value? Yeah, here I can see rupees. Yeah. So the basic plan comes with 4 services and the basic plus test plans. So test plans are a little bit costly. People will not opt for it. Why? Because as I told, if you are part of any security organization and if you want to take more cautious reportings, then you should go with test plans. As I said, first 5 users, if you consider this 0 for first 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, yeah. First 5 users, it is free only. But when you go for extra user, then the cost starts 432 rupees. So for practice session and demo sessions, we are good to go with initial account with 5 users. So Azure Pipelines, these are free, work items free, unlimited private Git repos, and artifacts also comes with 2 GB data. If your artifacts is size of 100 MB or 200 MB, no problem. Up to 2 GB you can get it. If you want more than 2 GB, then if you see 2 GB free, then 144 rupees per each GB. Okay. Now why I told public and private, let me give you idea here itself. If you go to project settings, and there you will have parallel jobs. Here you will see the difference between public and private. I will show you later also, don't get confused, but I just want to give you an idea. See, public projects free. So there are 10 parallel jobs. But when you go to private projects, parallel jobs, only one parallel job. Only one parallel job. For public, 10 parallel jobs. For self-hosted, okay, self-hosted, 1800 minutes only free, 1800 minutes. But when you go to public, unlimited free, unlimited. Okay, there are only 1800 minutes fee for private projects. For public, unlimited is free. That's the reason I want to go to public. So for our trainings or demo sessions, public project will suffice all the requirements. Don't think, okay, let me create private project. So when you go to private project, you will get some limitations. You can't do all the experiments. So by tomorrow, I expect you all create Azure DevOps account and have your own organization and have your own project. Guys, once again I'm giving you, when you are creating your projects or organizations, please use proper names. Don't go with demo project, test project, first project, second project. No. Please have proper naming convention. Naming convention is very important. That's the reason if you see, I created Rajesh organization. It's my Azure DevOps organization. So I created this Rajesh organization. It's not like that my company, own company, first company, second company. Don't give some random names, guys. Make it clear. Naming conventions are very important. And if you see, Microsoft is very cautious in naming conventions. You can see the web page itself. They started with different names. The moment they are adding extra functionalities, they are changing the name itself. Not sure whether this name will be there or not. In future, they may come up with some idea. In future, they may come up with some idea. And let me give you one idea, guys. I am working in Azure DevOps since it is Visual Studio Online. I am working in Azure DevOps since it is Visual Studio Online. I am there in Visual Studio Online, I am there in VSTS, and now I am there in Azure DevOps as well. So I know what is good, what is bad, and how it got created, how it is evolved, everything. So that's the reason I am telling you, don't go with random names or shuffling names. Try to use proper names so that you can have your clear idea. Okay, this is my project, this is .NET project, this is Java project, and this is my organization. Okay. I'm done, guys. I believe everyone will create their account, and tomorrow we will start from your account itself. Anything else?
I have a question. Sorry,
Yes.
I can wait. Yeah, so if you have a Microsoft account already, can you use it for creating Azure?
Yes.
Can you use the login for creating Azure?
Yes, you can use.
Okay. And I was going to ask, is there a special reason why you have to go into incognito mode?
No, I already have my account logged in here. That's the reason I went to incognito mode.
Okay. Okay.
So the moment I click on sign in, it will take my credentials.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I wanted to show you the login page. That's the reason I went to incognito mode. There I can show you the login page.
Okay.
Yeah, and yes. Anything else, guys? If you are good, you can log off, and by tomorrow, please come up with your Azure DevOps accounts. Okay. Bye, guys.